Guido, Mayor.
Are we building a better Dearborn? This vital, penetrating question occurred to me again and again, over and over, in preparing for today's State of the City address. After all, there can be no meaningful report to the 90,000 stockholders of this complex corporation called Dearborn unless we apply the question, are we building a better Dearborn, to each facet of community life that your city government touches. Each decision, each action, each program, and every investment must be examined in this light. Is the time, the effort, and the huge sums of money that city government is pouring into neighborhood improvement programs being well spent? Are we on the right road to promoting a better business climate and healthier tax base? In reshaping your city government, are we molding a team and a system that is productive, responsive, and results-oriented? Are we building a better Dearborn? In all honesty, I think that, on the whole, the answer to this question is yes. Yes, together, we are building a better Dearborn. You will notice that I said we. I say we because the successes that we have enjoyed to date have been the result of a total effort and commitment by the people of Dearborn. I'm talking about a people who want things to happen and a people who make things happen. The most dramatic illustration of this is the success we had in the city millage election last August. People who had been on opposing sides in a bitter political war only a few months earlier united in common cause. They put aside their differences. They sat side by side to address postcards. They joined to deliver lawn signs, pass out literature, make telephone calls, and man the polls. They were successful because of their hard work and because they were dealing with a receptive audience. Why did these volunteers make these sacrifices? Because they loved this city, because they wanted to help preserve the many good things we cherish, because they wanted to be a part of building a better Dearborn. I have enjoyed this same type of response and enthusiasm from citizens and from the business community for every new approach that I have tried in the short 13 months that I have served as your mayor. It's heartwarming and inspiring, and it's also vital to the resurgence of this community. In discussing specifics, let's first look at our neighborhoods. A year ago, I told you that my #1 concern and top priority was public safety. I'm proud to report to you today that by reorganizing our police operation, we now have an additional 12 officers on the streets every day. Through wider use of police cadets for non-emergency functions, we will reassign still another 8 officers from staff support to patrol duty in 1987. Our specially formed tactical support unit, a roving platoon of 12 highly trained officers that blitz trouble spots, has enjoyed tremendous success in its first 10 months of existence. This unit alone recorded 80 felony arrests, 700 misdemeanor arrests, and issued over 4,000 tickets. Today, in Dearborn, Michigan, we have more officers on the street than at any other time in our history. They are highly visible, which is the greatest crime deterrent of all, and they are effective. My second biggest worry was about the appearance and condition of our neighborhoods. We all know that when signs of deterioration begin surfacing, it's all too easy for some to acquire a don't give a damn attitude. In Dearborn, we're not going to give people an excuse to neglect their property. We have attacked this problem with vigor. In 1986, we demolished 35 substandard homes throughout the city to get rid of eyesores and make way for new residential construction. We have targeted another 35 eyesore homes for removal this year. One of the benefits of the successful millage effort was that it gave us the resources to hire additional building inspectors. This allows us to more vigorously enforce basic building, health, and nuisance codes in our neighborhoods. The City Council made enforcement more effective by passing ordinances which give inspectors broader ticketing powers. We also tried a number of new programs: homesteading vacant lots, rubbish amnesty, discount house paint, and free removal of junk cars to spark neighborhood improvements and neighborhood pride. On the surface, some of these might not seem to be major projects, but they were programs of substance. The rubbish amnesty program alone generated some 2,000 additional tons of household discards. We removed more than 400 junk cars from city streets. The bottom line was that our citizens responded, and each response produced an improvement. The people of Dearborn proved that the intense pride of home and community, which had distinguished this city from other cities for so many years, still exists. The pride only had to be rekindled, and we plan to repeat these programs each year. On a broader scale, we are moving into some major projects which will improve the quality of life citywide. Our fire department recently completed a study on a modern warning system to alert our residents of tornadoes and other disasters. Work already has started on a 10-year, $19 million project to repair, restore, and reline the entire 800 miles of city sewers. We are considering the replacement of all our residential streetlights with modern lamps on decorative poles. This new generation of lights would be more appealing to the eye, more energy efficient, and a great help in our crime prevention program. On a smaller scale, new equipment has been purchased to more efficiently clean our streets. Ford Field will have a new ice rink in time for the 1987 skating season. Our parks are being equipped on a systematic basis with new permanent picnic tables. I'm also pleased to report that Dearborn is making king-size strides in another important area, residential development. More than 700 new condo and apartment units designed to satisfy the needs of both young professionals and senior citizens will be completed this year. Another 1,300 units are expected to be completed by the end of 1988. I'm especially proud that this city administration has been extremely effective in making these developments possible. In fact, my office now is working with 2 developers in assembling land for 2 more major projects in East Dearborn. Not all things are positive, and not all things run smoothly. 2 huge uncertainties cloud our efforts to market and improve Dearborn. I'm speaking of the Parks Ordinance controversy and the U.S. Justice Department suit against Dearborn's employment practices. Both have been extremely time-consuming and expensive issues. And we just learned that a settlement of a lawsuit filed in the 1970s regarding police and fire pensions could cost the city as much as the Ford tax settlement. This follows a trend of recent years where litigation awards and expenses have been among the most costly budget items. On a more positive note, on the business front, it is especially noteworthy that Dearborn recorded its first $2 billion assessment roll this past year. With the commercial and industrial projects that we have on the drawing boards right now, it is safe to assume that this upward trend will continue. The Ford Motor Company recently submitted plans for $90 million in new construction. In addition, our building department reports that Dearborn can look forward to a second consecutive year of over $100 million of new construction. This includes $40 million for a new hotel office complex, plus new hospital facilities, new retail stores, and new residential construction. The past year has seen the city step up its activities in 3 major areas of economic development. Number 1, marketing. Number 2, bricks and mortar. Number 3, planning. In the area of marketing, we started from scratch in early 1986. Dearborn now has joined other major cities in using modern advertising, promotion, and communication techniques to attract and retain business. In concert with the Chamber of Commerce and Ford Motor Land Development Corporation, we have produced a promotional video, Destination Dearborn. Our city was featured in a special insert of Metropolitan Detroit magazine. A group of local public relations and marketing professionals now meets regularly to explore methods to promote Dearborn as a tourist attraction, a desirable site for business development or expansion, and a great place in which to live. In the bricks and mortar category, the most graphic and symbolic examples of progress are the city's purchase and demolition of the former Doug's Body Shop in West Dearborn and the demolition of the Crown Furniture Store in East Dearborn, each of which were in the hearts of an established business district. Both buildings, one burned out and one deteriorated beyond hope, had become symbols of frustration and decline. After these buildings were demolished very early in my administration, we were left with 2 parcels of vacant land in the hearts of what should be thriving commercial areas and no concrete plans for redevelopment. I solicited recommendations from professionals in the private and public sectors for the best use of the 2 properties, and I began visiting nearby cities with problems similar to those of Dearborn to see what they were doing in the area of economic development. I was determined that Dearborn would never again be caught short in planning. The result is that, with the help of the City Council, the Doug's Body Shop property was used as a catalyst for the acquisition of nearly an entire block of aged retail structures. The plan is to remove all existing structures starting in early spring to create a site for the development of a block-long, high-rise structure containing modern retail shops, offices, entertainment, and residential units. Ann Arbor and Birmingham have had great success with similar programs in what popularly is known as a superblock development. To date, the city has some $3 million invested in acquisition and demolition. For one who is elected to a 4-year term, a long-range project such as superblock is an extremely risky venture. If it drags on, we will be subjected to much criticism. But this is a risk I am willing to take, and I am convinced that Dearborn is capable of doing just as good a job or better than Birmingham or Ann Arbor. Rest assured, superblock will happen, and it will stand as a monument to future generations of what sparked the redevelopment and prosperity of our aged business districts. The Crown Furniture Store demolition has challenged us to make a more intense study of the entire business area along Schaefer, north of Michigan. We are now considering methods to boost pedestrian traffic and the perception of activity, including the return of old-fashioned street parking on Schaefer. The Doug's Body Shop and Crown Furniture experience underscored the critical need for proper long-range planning. Since that time, I have formed a high-technology task force of business leaders, community leaders, and manufacturing specialists to formulate a workable, realistic, feasible plan for attracting high-tech industries to Dearborn. In conjunction with Michigan Bell, we conducted the first industrial survey in Dearborn's history. We were gratified to find that 93% of existing companies rate Dearborn as good or excellent place in which to do business. We now are working to correct the shortcomings noted by the other 7% and to reinforce the many positives cited by the great majority. I have ordered our city plan staff to prepare a beautification program for Newman Street in conjunction with the superblock development. We are working on plans to beautify unsightly railroad right-of-ways and a new concept for signs and landscaping at our city entrances. People must know, tourists, businessmen and women, and our own residents, that when they come to Dearborn, they are entering a very special place. As to our city government, we are moving in the right direction. By June, we will have a new telephone system in place that is both cost-effective and modern. Initially, it will save us some $100,000 a year. We also have coordinated our purchasing efforts on an interdepartmental basis to achieve better prices. We have eliminated hundreds of hours of downtime on our city vehicles, including police cars, through better maintenance programs and taking advantage of leasing opportunities. We are well on our way to establishing a workable, affordable maintenance and repair program for city buildings. We have modernized the Bryan Senior Citizen Drop-In Center. We are replacing roofs on 3 fire stations and all 3 buildings in our Civic Center complex. We have set aside money to upgrade ancient heating systems at City Hall. We used federal funds to install elevators and have built a new handicapped access ramp at City Hall. And we initiated a 5-year, $4.7 million repair and maintenance program for our senior citizen apartments. In the area of planning, for the first time, our finance department is preparing 5-year economic forecasts to assist us in budget preparation and funding programs for civic improvements. My staff also is preparing 5-year planning programs in such diverse areas as Camp Dearborn, the Rouge River cleanup, community center programs, and possible use of a 911 emergency call system. For the first time, we have had an in-house training program on the use of microcomputers. Many of you might be surprised to learn that we have had nearly a 50% turnover in department heads since I took office 13 months ago. I'm attempting to mold an organization that is responsive, is not afraid to use new technology to improve services, is accessible to the public, and has the ability to plan programs beyond the current budget year. I have firmly entrenched in the minds of my department heads that the delivery of quality public services is this administration's top priority, and that all of our jobs depend on that delivery. I will not tolerate second-class service or second-class effort. That's not the way we build a better Dearborn. Longer-range goals include a municipal golf course. We are now talking with the private sector about a partnership in the possible development of a performing arts center. And we have kept the lines open to Lansing on the Dearborn Nursing Home project. When and if the right time comes to move forward on these projects, you can bet we will be prepared. Yet our progress depends on all of us. Do we, the total community, share the courage, creativity, willingness to work, and positive attitude that is needed to build a better Dearborn? I believe we do. It's the primary reason why I am convinced that we are going to enjoy further success in restoring our neighborhoods to glory, in rejuvenating proud Dearborn traditions, in moving Dearborn to the forefront in Michigan's economic future, in building a better Dearborn. We, you, me, and our neighbors are going to build a better Dearborn.